Okay, we should be recording. Let's just do like a 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
Hello,
3.
everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we were
Hi
just
guys.
having a great conversation, and then as soon as I was like, I want to hit record, it just got so weird.
Yeah.
But welcome to my podcast about creativity, about being a beginner and going about the journey of pursuing a creative career, unconventional careers, freelance entrepreneurship, all of it. You know, I'm very passionate about that, and that's where I am at personally. I've been doing photography professionally for about 6 months, and I just love to talk to my friends who are also pursuing creative careers, having fun, have great hobbies, or just interested in learning and growing. So, Malaika, thank you so much for joining
Yay.
me today.
Thank you for having me, Lynn.
Of course.
So
How
should
are
I
you
start off by,
doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
please tell us how your day is going, what time of day it is for you.
Okay, let me just quickly check. So it's 4 p.m. in the UK, British Standard Time. No, British Summer Time. Um, yeah, my day's going well. I had my morning classes on Zoom, so I'm very accustomed to Zoom. I'm like constantly on Zoom.
Right.
Um, and after that, I went out. So in the UK, they recently opened up all the non-essential shops. So not that I went to those shops, but I went out, and obviously everyone has been out. And it started off kind of gloomy today, but now it's sunny, and it's just been a really nice day overall. I went out for a walk, and I went about my day running errands. So yeah, it's been a good day so far.
Oh.
Did you want me to introduce myself as well?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Whatever you think your title is, what you're doing, what you're interested in, your hobbies, literally anything that you want to say.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Malaika. Title. I always find it hard titles. Like,
Right?
so is it? I don't know. I was gonna say, is
What
it
you're
Miss?
interested in. We're not putting all that pressure. It does feel like a lot of pressure.
The thing is, with me, I'm interested in so many different things, and I spread myself thin sometimes. So I'm just constantly coming up with new ideas of how to express myself. My personal interest, I have a huge interest in Japanese culture. If you just simply go on my YouTube or my Instagram, you'll see something Japanese there if you scroll through. I'm studying Japanese as well. I love photography. I like to go on walks and just take pictures of my surroundings. Recently, I've been doing that a lot, and then posting it on
Love
Visco.
it.
Um, yeah, I love videography as well. I'm just getting into that. I feel like I still haven't mastered everything. I've been doing it for a while, but I feel like I just recently kind of got a new camera and been trying to use different editing software. So I'm finding I don't want to say my niche because I don't really fit in a niche sometimes. I try different things, but kind of finding what I feel most comfortable in and what I enjoy
Right.
most doing, and also seeing what my audience likes. So yeah, I don't know if I missed anything. I
It's
just
just
do
being
a lot of things.
curious.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very curious. I feel like I do a lot. Like whenever someone asks me what am I doing, I'm like, I'm doing this, and this. They're like, whoa.
I
I love
hear you.
traveling as well. I
Yes.
love being in new culture, surrounding myself in new cultures. I like meeting new people online or in person. I like going to events. Yeah, I guess I like
Yeah.
painting. I've been painting a lot recently as well. I studied art at GCSE and A level, which is, I don't know, basically in the US. I don't know what the
High
equivalent is.
school, just
High
high school.
school, and do you guys have something just before high school? And not just before high school, just before university, or was it just high school?
Yeah, just high school. We have
Okay,
elementary, middle, and high.
it'd be high school, yeah. So I
Yeah.
studied art in high school,
I
and that's
love
where
it.
my passion for photography kind of started.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then since then I've just been artsy and doing all sorts
Yeah.
of hobbies on the side. Sometimes I like cooking, sometimes not all the time. If I'm in the mood to cook, I'll cook. Yeah, I feel like I like trying new things.
We love hobbies over here. That's what I want to talk about, right? Not feeling like just because you have a hobby, you have to monetize it right away, make money out of it, make a profit off of it. but I really love that. You do a lot. And I can totally
Sometimes too
relate to
much.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
sorry, to backtrack a little bit. This conversation was just supposed to be about the actual interview, the actual conversation. And we just started talking. We're checking in,
Yeah.
and Malika's been telling me what she's been up to, because it's been a very long time since we had our conversation. The last time we spoke was live on Instagram, which was
Amazing.
great. And the moment we just started talking, everything just started flowing out. And I'm asking her questions. I'm like, wait, we need to record because it's so good.
Yeah.
But in our conversation, we were talking about how you're studying abroad online. Can you please tell
Yeah.
us about how that experience has been for you?
Wow.
Because that's very
It's
interesting, because it's unheard of.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're
that's
having a
true.
very unique experience.
Yeah, I have to agree. I feel like I'm probably the first group or cohort of students who have had to do this.
Yes.
Um, because I started last year when the pandemic was, fresh, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
And yeah, it's been a huge adjustment. I think the biggest adjustment for me is just waking up at a different time zone. So because I'm in the UK and my classes are in Japan, I have to wake up like before the clocks moved forward or back, I don't know which way they moved. Before that happened, it was like 4 a.m., between 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. were my classes.
4 a.m.?
4 a.m., yeah. So,
I couldn't.
and I need to be wide awake because they would ask you questions. They'd expect you to be participating.
Wow.
Like that's a percentage of your grade. So it's not like I could just be half asleep, just like listening. So yeah,
Wow.
and now it's 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is a little bit better.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm adjusted, but it still takes a toll on you because your body has to get used to waking up so early and then kind of shifting. Like basically, I'm busy in the morning and then I just have this long period of time in the afternoon to like do my own thing or study on top of that, go over the things I've studied in class. And I also was looking for part-time jobs at the same time, and I was not hitting any luck. I think God was just saying, no, don't take a job right now. I'm
Right.
not letting you have a job, even if I applied for so many jobs, and
Right.
God was just like, no, not right now. And yeah, and I also started taking a course online, how to teach English to as a foreign language. So yeah, I forgot to mention this to you
Fun.
before, but I started doing that. It is quite a lot. I kind of underestimated how long it would take me to do. I thought I could finish it in my break. So I just finished my spring break and I thought I could do it in that break. But actually, it's going to go even further, probably till the summer.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's a course where you do it at your own pace. It's all pre-recorded, so it's not like you have to log in and
Oh,
watch
okay.
anything on. I mean, you do. You log in and watch it online, but it's not live. It's not live, so you just
Okay.
watch it when you want.
Right.
So it's kind of like at your own pace. But yeah, so I'm kind of juggling a lot because I need to do that plus my study abroad classes and make sure I'm on top of that. And then I've of course doing my hobbies and I want to keep that consistent because in the past I've struggled with consistency and just kind of uploading one video or doing one photo shoot and then just ghosting for
Yes.
months and
Yes.
letting life take me and flow me around. And
Right.
so I'm trying to like be consistent with what I do. And I just think that's a very important skill to have. Um, and I've definitely seen growth by being consistent. I've seen growth in different areas. So yeah, I've completely forgotten what your question was, but yeah,
But
I
yeah,
answered it.
yeah.
I think I answered it now.
Yes, yes, you did.
Yeah.
I'm very
Oh,
excited for you. I'm very excited to
yeah.
see how this study abroad works out for you. And it's just, I love it because I really don't know anyone else that's studying abroad right now, and you're doing
Mm,
virtually. So that's a very unique angle, and you can talk about that and share more of that.
yeah. Oh,
That's
thank
really
you. You
interesting.
reminded me now. Like
Yes.
that was the question. I think because obviously when you study abroad, you want to immerse yourself in the culture, right? But I think a lot of that's been taken away because it's virtual. So they
All
do
of it.
try to kind of compensate for that a little bit by giving online extra curriculum activities or exchange things, I don't know, exchange events. it's not, it doesn't, it's just not going to equal out. It's not going to make up for what you've lost. But my mentality to make up for what I'm missing out on by being in the country is just immersing myself where I am right now. So I try to like watch things or read books that are in my target language, or I go out to places in London that are typically Japanese or have a lot of Japanese community, or an event. If there was events, I would go to events. Or I go to a food store or like a restaurant and just pretend I'm in Japan, which is kind of sad. But I just try and, because I know that, well, luckily I've been there before. So I've kind of had that experience, but I know that this is not going to last forever, this pandemic. So I know that I'm still going to get something out of doing this study abroad. So I get a qualification at the end, I think, just to show that I've done that year in that university. And it's also part of my degree title. So they'll say event management and Japanese with 1 year study abroad in Japan or something like that. It's a long title. So it will definitely pay off, the fact that I've decided to do it online, even though most people would think, well, you're not there, so what's the point?
Yes.
And I've still learned so many things, even though it's been virtual. Met some amazing people, some great teachers, and I think I've improved in my language skills a lot as well, because I was slacking before, but being taught by native speakers has really leveled me up. So there's a lot to be grateful for as well. As much as it's difficult, it's worth it. So
Well, I'm very excited for you, and yes,
thank
you
you.
have to keep me updated on everything and how things are working out.
Definitely will.
Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm thinking of doing something just as like an icebreaker question, but we don't need it. We don't need it because we're ready for the conversations. But I feel like it's great to just be super vulnerable.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a kind of like a challenge. So I want to ask you a we're not really strangers question.
Okay.
I have to pull it up from Instagram. Sorry.
It's fine.
But these are so good because it just gets you thinking. And if you're in a group of friends, you're having deeper conversations, and it's just
making you go deeper, right?
Yes.
Because I know it can be hard sometimes, to get to that deep place in a conversation. Sometimes it naturally happens, but sometimes you're not able to like break through the surface. I find that with some people that I just can't. So
exactly.
In that
definitely. Okay, let me see. Okay, this is good. Okay.
Ooh, I'm excited.
The question is, what are you currently working through that others don't see?
Ooh, I like it. Yeah. It's my type of deepness.
Yes.
I can't help but go to the spiritual, because I feel like no one sees the spiritual, like visibly sees.
They don't see the work.
So a lot of what's happening for me that I'm working on, or what was it that I'm working on, or
what are you working through that others
through.
Don't see?
Working through, right? A lot of what I'm working through is spiritual things. Because I feel like with the physical things, people can see it to some extent, unless I choose not to share it, which I guess I did have a long break as well from social media, where I just kept to myself. And in that time, God was showing me a lot about myself that I didn't like. And, when you remove all the other distractions from your life and you kind of just sit in God's presence, he shows you things. That's the time where he can speak, because there's nothing else to distract you away or to fill up your mind.
Yes.
So I felt like if I to go into it in more detail, basically I have a lot of issues with family and relational issues, with my dad and with various family members as well, other family members that are a bit further down the line. And we also had 2 passings in my family. One was my pet cat and my other was my grandfather. And so it's really been taking a toll on the family dynamics and our family as a whole. And because I didn't have a relationship really with my grandfather, it's really hard to express, to understand my emotions, I guess that's the best way to say it, because I don't know how to feel. Yeah, it's different. It's not sadness, it's just like, oh, I should feel sad, but I didn't have anything with that person. And yeah, with my cat, I mean, it's still, it took a hit to all of us in my family. um so yeah, and just realizing like a lot of things have been passed down between through the generations. A lot of, I would say, sins or things that people struggle with, or just bitterness or unforgiveness or whatever it may be. Just different various things have been passed down. And it's weird because I'm always distracting myself, or, you know, seeking escapism to not deal with these issues. So when I literally removed, what was it, Instagram, YouTube, I had no escape. Like, I couldn't just create. I mean, I created, but I don't know, it was enough. There was enough removed that I could still see these things for what they were, and realize that I was holding, you know, emotions against certain people, anger, unforgiveness. And I was just like, whoa, hello. Since when were you there? You know, like, I didn't know that was there. Some of it's still unresolved, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm just praying for the right moment to speak to those people about the issues I have with them, and hopefully come to an understanding and reconciliation. But and then some have just cut people off, and it's just toxic. But there's that. And then there's also my personal, just God showing me my sins, my personal sins, like myself, like, and realizing what I struggle with as a person may not be visible to people because I often hide it, or I try to be fake vulnerable and share what I think is acceptable, or will get me praise, or maybe look good, or, you know, just very superficial. And also how I treat other people. And yeah, it's just a lot. I could go on and on, but I don't know how much you want me to share, but it's deep. Like, even just, for example, how I love people, and how I lack empathy and love for certain people, or, you know, situations, or certain topics, or, you know, whatever it may be, controversial things that, you know, I may be less understanding to, and just be very like, well, this is my stance, and it's just like, you're not moving me, you know, I don't care, you know. Or it could be, I'm trying to think. It's just like lack of empathy, lack of love. And oh yeah, sorry, I realized I remembered it now. So it also was that I constantly struggle with self-righteousness and thinking I'm better than people. And I don't know if that's like a coping mechanism, or if it's rooted in like my insecurities about myself and how I don't feel good enough, so I must make myself think I'm better, or, you know. So I'm working through all these things, and some of them I push back down. I'm like, hey, I know about you, and you can just, you know, go away right now. And then there's others that just keep resurfacing, and I have to deal with them right now. And I feel like God is so gracious to show me only now certain things, because there's no way I could have dealt with it a year ago, or, you know, even a month ago. So the timing has been right for that, for me to see these things in myself. And I'm sure there's more. I can't even deceive myself to think, oh, that's it, you know, you've got these issues, God's going to help you through it, and you're good. There's this constant, you know, there's more that's hidden, or, you know, suppressed. And yeah, just also mental health, and just the mess that is my mental health. Like, I feel like it's up and down, and sometimes feeling anxious or self-conscious when I go out on the street, and hearing in the news and things that are happening in the world, and I just have to shut it off because I cannot deal. And even just because there's world news, right, and then there's local news. And even the local news, it's like I cannot escape it, because my family will just be like, hey, did you know that someone went missing? And I'm like, hey, don't tell me, I don't want to know. I know we're in a simple world, okay? I don't need to know. Like, oh, by the way, it's just down the road, this person went missing. Or, I don't know, did you know they banned natural hair in this school, and I'm like, what? You know, it's just, I don't need to know. Like, I mean, I need to know, but I don't need to know, if that makes sense. So yeah, just working through that and thinking, putting boundaries in place and realizing that, okay, being informed but also looking after my mental state, it's like a push and pull. And yeah, so I feel like no one sees that, but I've definitely been working through that as well. And that's why, if you ever see me on social media posting from my walks, I go on super long walks. I go like on 2-hour walks around the city, and I end up really far away from my house. So I'm just like, oh wow, oh, how did I get here? And I'm all the way back, and it's helped me a lot to get through so many things, just going on walks. And then sometimes I pray while I'm walking, or sometimes I journal as well, and that's really helped me to just express my thoughts, because I don't always know how to tell people what I'm thinking. And I feel like I had a lot of things in place that were there to help me, or people that were there that I could go to. But now I'm starting to see people getting busy again, and I totally get that. Like, life happens and like people get busy, but it's made me realize, okay, well, I can't go to this person anymore because they're busy. So what do I do when life gets hard? God. But it's yeah, I'm so used to going to people rather than God, or relying on others rather than God. So I think that's something I'm starting to learn as well. And this is all happening like the last few months. I mean, this sounds like a lifelong epiphany, but it's just the last 2 months. This is what I've learned. I've learned so much. So yeah, I would say that's something. I mean, what about you, Lynn? Is there anything that people don't see but you're working through?
Literally safe. That's why I was like, okay. But oh man, literally word for word, exactly same for me. Dealing with family stuff, transitions, it's been really tough. And trying to stay positive, trying to stay hopeful, trying to be, strong, trying to intercede for my family. It's hard, Lord. It's hard,
Yeah.
So all of these things. And then also dealing with the mental, with the not feeling like I'm good enough. Honestly, one thing that I'm working through right now is that I don't see the value in anything that I create. It is, I can't, I don't know, So it's just when I am kind of like in my devotional time, just like God reaffirming me, right? The word that He has given me. He has created me wonderfully and beautifully, and I have purpose. And and I'm really, it's really been really difficult for me to find my space and to really be confident and really truly believe that I am providing some form of value in the world through what I'm creating through. So I'm working through that. And it's been interesting. It's been really interesting. And my favorite part really is just having some of these vulnerable conversations with others, and my friends are affirming me. I need that. Like, that's my medication.
Yeah.
People affirming me and constantly reminding me that I'm doing something.
Are you a words of affirmation person?
I keep saying that I'm not, but I guess I am.
I think you are. From the fact that you're saying I need the affirmation, yeah, it sounds like you are.
I need affirmations, but that's not my love language. No.
Yeah, literally. I'm the same. I'm a words affirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can confidently say that.
I think that I guess it is.
Don't be in denial. It is.
But when you're dealing through something and you don't see your own.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's funny because you shared something recently, and the one that I shared yesterday, they were kind of both the same, because you only see yourself through a mirror, so you don't see how others see you and how others interact with your work and what you have to give. So that's I'm learning to be a little more gracious with myself, but that's what I'm working through.
I have to agree. Literally the same. I mean, I didn't mention that, but I have to say I struggle with that constantly, and it's like, because I often, well, it's the typical comparing myself, right? So you go on Instagram or you go on whichever platform it is, and you see someone doing something that you want to be doing, or you're doing, but they're more successful in it, and you're like, well, I swear I've been doing this for like 3 years. So why am I not where they are? And
Right.
you shouldn't compare yourself, and everyone's different. But it's just a natural thing that comes to you sometimes, and you're fighting it. And I think often that's, at least for me, where my insecurity lies, where I'm like, I don't feel good enough because I'm literally not making the progress that I should be making, or I'm not where I should be, or no one. Or another thing for me, because I know I'm words of affirmation, right? And a lot of the time, if I post something, people won't comment. And I really love comments. Like, I'm not gonna
I'm
lie.
like,
I
the
live
entire world hates me.
I live for comments. So like, if you're watching, guys, just comment
Yes.
under all my stuff and I will love you. But
Yes.
literally, I'm a words of affirmation person. So that means more to me sometimes than just looking or just resharing. Like, if you say something to me or DM me, that means more than a gift or other, the different affirmations, the different love languages.
Yes.
So I realized that, and often people don't. So for me, it's like, I don't know if I'm even doing anything right here, because, and then, out of the blue, someone will be like, hey, been watching you for a year, or you're really inspired, whatever. I'm like, you could have told me this before, but didn't know. So I was gonna give up, And
You literally talked me
please,
off a ledge, right? Right.
literally, like, please tell me these things, because feedback is so important. At least for me, I need, not I need, I didn't crave, but I think I really thrive off of that, and having feedback from people, whether it's constructive or really positive. I don't really mind, depending on like how it's worded, because they can be spiteful as well. But yeah, I realized that I've lost my my train of thought.
Mhm.
No, I've lost it. I've lost
Um,
it. What
Me
was the? Oh
too.
my gosh, no. What was it?
Affirming your work, for people affirming your work and really sharing their thoughts when you share things, and really affirming you when you share your work online.
It was to do with what you said before, though.
That I'm dealing with this within my insecurities about my work and feeling that I'm not
Oh
creating
yeah,
anything of value.
yeah. Thank you. But I need to work on that. But yeah, basically, when I don't get feedback, I'm like, does it even matter? Does it mean anything? To people even care? And I realize that sometimes, I think I posted it on my Instagram. There's the silent watchers, the people that are silently inspired by you. They won't always
That's what
say it.
that's the one I
Yeah,
was referring
that's when you.
to.
Oh, that's when you're
So
referring to.
good.
Yeah, yeah. And I needed that. Like, it's funny enough. I went on TikTok that day, and that was the first thing that came up, and I was like, wow, I needed that. Like, wow,
Yeah.
Lord, that was the right thing. But yeah, I realized that now people are not always going to say something, but keep going, because it is making a difference whether you get feedback or not. So, and especially as a small creator or beginner, you're not going to get that feedback like you want to. Sometimes it may take a whole year before someone comments under your whatever you post, whatever you make.
Yes. I
Yeah.
have to share my testimony with you.
Please do.
So my job that I currently have in New York, she found me on Visco.
What?
She found me on Visco. I'm like, so it's a photography
Wow.
agency. They represent photographers. So
Yeah.
literally right after a conversation around July, she was like, I
Mm.
saw your work on, like, I'm an agent. Like, I have a photography agency. I saw your work on Visco. And then they shared your stuff on their Visco Instagram
Yeah, yeah,
page.
yeah. Yeah,
I
they
love
did.
it.
Yeah.
Would love to talk to you. How long have you been a photographer for? I was like, what is going on?
No, that is
Yes.
incredible.
Isn't
She
it?
found you off Bisco.
And I was just messing around. And this is where I allow myself to really be free. I'm just expressing myself and what I'm interested in. And
Yeah.
then, and so we just started talking, and she kind of started mentoring me with my portfolio and telling me, giving me advice.
Mm.
And then around February, I just started the new job, literally February. I reached out to her. Hi, I was wondering how production is going in New York. Please let me know. I just want to be an assistant, just to hold something up in a photography
Yeah.
studio. And then she was like, "Oh, we're actually looking for an assistant. We would love to work with you." She doesn't know me. She never met
Look at
me.
that.
I
That is
mean,
God.
God is so good. But then again, we
Amazing.
are creating and we are sharing. We don't know who's watching.
It's so true. It's
And
so
so
true.
that's the lesson I've learned. I was amazed.
That's amazing testimony. That's encouraged me to keep going
Yes.
because I'm like, oh my gosh, you
Yes.
literally never know. Like, what are the chances she found you? She reached out. And sometimes it's just that, people will find you, all, like I said, before we started the recording, people found me that are in Japan, Christians.
Yes.
And I'm like, how did you find me? I always like, and it's different. It's happened more than once. So like there's different people that I've connected with. And I'm like, how all these Christian Japanese people finding me? Like,
Yes.
seriously. And God will connect you with the people that you're meant to be connected to. So I think
Yes.
that was just that was what's the word? Planned, it was meant to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really happy for you. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Wow.
And literally one of my biggest prayers throughout 2019 and also 2020 and also 2021 has
Mm,
been for more creative godly friends,
yeah.
creative friends, and just creating
Yeah.
and also connecting with the people who are connected to my destiny. I need to
Yes,
somehow
definitely.
bump into these people, and what are the odds? And I mean, God did that. I'm so
Literally.
grateful.
Speaking of which, how did we meet? I'm trying to remember how we,
I don't
not meet, but
know.
like, how did we come across each other? Do you remember how you, I don't know, I think I found you, but
it's
I
been
don't,
it's been so long, I don't even remember.
same, I can't remember either.
It's been
Okay,
such a
it's
long
fine if you can't
time.
remember because I can't quite remember. I felt like it was Keone. Do you remember Keone, the UK
Yes.
brand? And I posted something,
Yes.
you posted something too, and we both got on our feet.
Oh, I
I don't know
think
if
that
it
might
was
have been
that.
it. Because I'm thinking around 2018
Yeah,
ish.
it was 20,
If
I think it was 2018.
if I go back on your feed, I can kind of remember the first photo that
But I've changed I not
Oh
deleted,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
removed a lot of them. So a
Yeah.
lot of my pictures. So wow. Okay,
Yes, that
I mean,
long.
that's amazing though. Like how we've
Yes.
just found each other as well.
Right.
Honestly.
So if you're
Yeah.
watching, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
In on a daily basis, it feels like you're not doing much. And I still feel like that, right? I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm trying to figure it out. But someone
Same.
somewhere is watching,
Yeah.
especially on social media, wherever you feel most comfortable. And that is also been a thing for me, finding my community, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I have most of my audience is on Instagram, but Visco is my home. Okay. It's
Yes.
been settled now because I feel so
Okay.
comfortable. I don't overthink things.
Mm.
And I literally I take my work from my camera, upload it onto Visco, mess around with some filters and post it. Like I don't overthink
Love
it.
it. I
And
love
then
that.
next thing you know, it's like
On
featured and
the feature.
yes, so that's where I feel most at home. And also
Mm.
Tumblr. I literally joined Tumblr in 2020.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I
I
did
never
consider that, but I don't really know what Tumblr is about. Like, I actually don't know.
it's like it's a
Is it like Instagram and Pinterest put together or
yes,
something? Okay.
basically. It's Instagram and Pinterest. So
Okay.
you're just reposting and
Mm.
reblogging. And I'm growing a small community on Tumblr. People are so supportive. And I'm like, this is great,
Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know people still
So
use Tumblr.
yes, me neither. People are very active on Tumblr, but it's also a
Wow.
way to source images, to source works, and source inspirations,
Mhm.
just like Pinterest.
Okay, I
Mhm.
might check it out because I did consider it last year as well,
Yeah.
but then I was like, I don't think anyone's on there. Is it kind
Yeah.
of dead? I don't know. Is it worth
Right.
joining now? So yeah,
Yes.
glad you said that.
So just
Mm,
keep on the journey and
yeah,
figure it out as you go. Oh, I'm super excited.
definitely. That was a really good question. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, literally.
Oh, that was really good. Okay, so then I guess just to keep going, reflecting
Yeah,
on it's been a while since our last conversation in June, obviously almost a
I
year.
can't remember exactly what we spoke about in that.
We anything and everything. We
We
spoke
did touch on
about
a lot.
creating through quarantine, what that was like for us, staying
Yeah.
creative, staying
Mm,
motivated. We talked about mental health
yeah.
and the current events and how it affected us,
Oh yeah,
working
yeah,
through the
yeah.
process, and basically the same conversation we're having now, just like a continuation, really.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yes. And you kind of touched on that already, but how are you staying creative right now?
Yeah, I guess I did touch on it a bit.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start. I'm like trying to put
Yes.
my thoughts together like in order
Yes.
and to make
No, take your
sense.
time.
So I feel like it's mostly been like I mentioned before, like when I go for walks or if I go out, I feel the most creative. It's weird, but if I'm in a good mood, and usually that's when the sun is shining, it's kind of warm outside and I'm out. I'm not in my room or not in the house. I'm a very outdoors person, if you guys can tell. I love going out. So kind of lockdown has definitely been hard for me because I'm not naturally a homebody. But yeah, I feel like whenever I go out, I feel like I want to create, like whether it's a vlog or a collage or just photography pieces. And then sometimes I do get random spurges of energy or inspiration just in the middle of the day. I could be at home and I'm just like, oh, this would be really cool. Like the lighting against this, or I don't know. I can't really explain it, but it just pops in my head. I think it's just given like from God, like from above.
Yes.
Like, here you go.
I
Here's
do
some,
that too. I'm
you
always
know.
like,
I'm just like, okay, I receive it. You know, it's always to do with lighting. I don't know what it is about lighting, but if there's really good lighting in a room, or like I see the light reflecting on something, or yeah, I'm just like, this could be used. I need to use. I don't know when the sun's gonna come out again. Unfortunately, we just have such cloudy days here. So whenever the sun's out, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna shoot something. And then I often just write down. Sometimes I have like creative moments where I just get thousands of ideas just flooding into my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, when am I going to do these things? You know, I don't have the time. So I often just write a long list of like all these ideas, either on my phone or my journal, just so that whenever I have like a dry patch, I can go back to those and just be like, oh, hey, I can create this. Oh, yeah, I forgot I had that idea. So yeah, there's no organized way, or it just, I don't know, it kind of sounds like I'm just getting waves of energy or something, but I generally feel like I just have moments of inspiration. Sometimes it's from something I've seen online, or another YouTuber that I've seen, or Instagram, or it could just be nature itself, you know, just walking in nature. And what have I been doing? I feel like I stopped making YouTube videos for a while because I was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing over there. Like, it's just, sometimes I make something that I'm really proud of, and sometimes I make something just for consistency that I'm not as proud of, or not as happy with, or not as well executed. With Instagram, I have no idea what I'm doing. The fact that it looks somewhat together is a miracle. There's no theme, there's no aesthetic going on. I just use the same visco filter on everything so that it looks coherent. And I really like making like photo dumps, like just having like loads of photos
yes.
in one thing. Because I take so many pictures, I need to show some of them and not just have them in my gallery. At one point, I kind of organized my gallery because my photos in my phone were just disorganized. So I was like, let me put all my study photos here, all my inspiration here, all my Pinterest, all my, I just kind of sorted out it was very therapeutic.
I need to do that.
Do it. Honestly, and then I labeled it. I was like, this is my this folder, this is my this folder. And then I made a little time lapse of it as well, because I was like, I want to remember how I did this so in the future. And I've been making like loads of time lapses. I don't really post them all the time, but I make so many time lapses. I just find it relaxing to do, and I find it pleasing to look at. Like sometimes I do a time lapse of the sunset or the clouds moving, and I'm just like, oh, this is very like, I just like the way it looks. And then I start thinking of how can I use this in a video or something how can I make this meaningful, because at the moment it's almost like you can use it, but I don't know how. So sometimes I make things and then I go back in time and look for stuff to add to the present. So I just kind of have like endless stuff in my gallery that I could use. And I still haven't had the inspiration of what I'm going to use it for yet. So yeah, I feel like I have been creating. I don't always share it. I don't always know what to share or what to do with it, but I have the ideas. And I always say this, I'm just an idea orientated person. Like I can't stop thinking of new ideas, which is, I think, is a problem, because I can't actually work on. I know, but then I can't work on the ideas because I have a new one every day. I wake up literally every day with something new in my mind. I'm like, this would be so cool. Like, if someone could hire me to come up with concepts, marketing or social media concepts, I could do it, because I have something new to offer you each day. And I'm just like, okay,
Wow.
how do I execute it? Where do I start? Yeah. So
That's
it's all over the
great.
place. I think I need to learn how to start and then finish, because I often start things, as you can imagine. I have a new idea, I start it, then I get distracted, or a new idea comes along, and I'm like, actually, I want to work on that one. That one seems better. And then the old one gets forgotten, or I just simply can't keep myself consistent enough on the present idea. So I definitely know that's a weakness that I have, and I want to work on that. Just finishing things, even if I'm not pleased with it at the end, at least I finished it. At least I did it, and now I can reflect back on it. But when you half finish something, you can't necessarily, it's not a true reflection of what you were capable of on what you, yeah, and if it's a failure or not, because you didn't finish it. So
Right.
yeah, I need to work on that.
I have a quick question about that. Do you delete things if you just feel like it
Ah,
wasn't your best work? Do you delete it, or do you kind of put it to the side, then you come later?
mm,
Because I delete.
yeah,
I delete, and I'm for
sometimes.
some reason I'm just like, yeah, nobody's gonna like it. Delete. And
No,
then
no, no.
months later,
You shouldn't delete it though, because I regret every time I delete, I regret.
every single time, don't delete ever.
Don't delete, and especially with so I had a photography Instagram, and like I was saying to Lynn, I was saying, oh, it's amazing how you have this photography still, and she was like, I deleted it. But
Last
so I
night.
remember how long ago, last night, I remember how long ago it was. I had a photography Instagram, and I had it, I had one, I deleted it, I had one again, I deleted it, and then after, not, it's not always instant, but months later I started thinking, oh, I wish I had my photography Instagram, because then I could have seen how far I've come and looked back at my work. And nowadays, like with my main Instagram, I just archive stuff. I never delete it, I just archive it, unless it
Yeah.
was literally by accident, I uploaded something by accident. But yeah, I just archive it, because I never know, sometimes I repost things, like, you know, you can just I don't know the word for it, upload from the archive, so you
Yes,
can put
yes.
it back on your feed. So yeah, so sometimes I do that anyway. So so I do delete, but I always regret it when I do. Same with YouTube. If I make a video and if it hasn't been published yet, I don't know if that counts, because then technically I've deleted it before it's even been shown. But if it's been shown, I don't delete, I just private it. If someone's seen it before, I private it, because sometimes I change. Again, I change my mind a lot. So there's been times I've removed it from my channel, and then I've added it back to my channel later on, and I've been like, you know what? Even if my niche is this, why can't I have that video? Like, why? Like, it doesn't, I keep falling in for the trap of the niche. You know, you need to be in the niche. You can't do videos outside of your niche, especially if you're a small YouTuber, you know, you must stay in your niche. And I'm like, actually, I don't want to. And I constantly have new ideas that are not in my niche. So I can't box myself in, unfortunately, which may or may not stunt my growth, but I don't care. You know, I'm just gonna make what I enjoy and what I'm inspired to make. So I unarchived a lot of those, not unarchived, publicized. I don't know yeah, I made them public again, because I had privated a lot of them before, because I thought I need to focus.
And that's
Yeah,
the thing. We are at the beginning of our creative journeys, and the idea that you have to have it figured. It's just like college, basically,
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
have to have it figured out at the age of 18. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? And I feel like
Mm,
we've kind of taken that into the creative space of
yeah,
like, find your spot and stay there forever, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
Scary.
I even see a lot of creatives who are like 10, 15 years into their career, their creative careers, who are like, when I started off, I wish I explored more. I wish I had more
Yeah,
fun. I wish I allowed myself to be curious about different things. And so that's what I've kind of taken on. And I'm like,
definitely.
I just want to explore and do different things. And YouTube has always been a struggle for me, always, but I will find my flow at some point. And maybe if the video podcast is my new thing, then that's what it's going to be. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
How do you feel about your YouTube right now, and where do you feel like you are at with YouTube, like content wise? What do you feel like posting, or what do you want to try that maybe outside of your niche or outside of what people expect from you?
Mhm.
Is there anything?
Well, I definitely want to do more photography content. Okay, so
Please do, please do. I really,
yes,
really want you to. Yeah,
but at the same time, like honestly, my editing is
I'm
not
so
great.
curious.
And so like I've just allowed myself to limit myself that way, but we're
Mm,
not thinking about that. We're gonna be positive about it. And I'm gonna
mm,
share however I can, right? So I
yeah.
would love to do more behind the scenes of photography
Ooh,
shoots, right? That's what I'm thinking about. And
mm,
honestly, like experiences. I'm so big on experiences.
yeah.
Um, I mean, going to museums and traveling and road trips and that. When the world opens back up, I would love to do that. And then the video podcast, right? For me, it's anything that
Yes.
requires the least amount of editing. That is what is most important to me.
Oh,
But then
yes.
literally take it and upload it, and it's a great conversation. It's
Mm,
informative, and it's intentional, and that is what's important to me. You know,
definitely, definitely.
and so really, it's been constantly a process of figuring out, staying true to myself, and
Yeah.
also like, you know, I mentioned it, I think, in one of the episodes that I recorded,
Mhm.
that, you know, we're taught that we have to find our niche and what do you do specifically that is unique to you, but
Yeah.
also do what everybody else does so you can have the followers and you can have the
Yeah, that's
fast
so
growth,
true.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna pressure myself anymore. I'm just gonna go about
Mm.
it and just ride the wave and figure it out as I go.
Speaking of which, I'm the interviewee. The interviewer, I should say. Speaking of which, like, do you see yourself monetizing from any of your hobbies at any, well, you've mentioned photography as a professional photographer, you are making money from that, but um in terms of like YouTube or the podcast or anything else that you have considered doing, that's a hobby right now, have you considered that monetizing off of that? Why or why not? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a few of my hobbies. This
Go
is
for
what I
it.
like to do for fun. So I like to paint. Um,
Ooh,
I started watercolor throughout quarantine. That was me trying to
wow.
like peace of mind, just watercoloring.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I definitely want to put this in a museum somewhere. You
Mm,
know, this is
yeah.
fun for me. I don't have to monetize it. I'm also doing illustrations. I'm very
Ooh.
interested in that. So that's also very fun for me, you know. Um, what else? Reading,
Oh yeah.
writing. I don't see myself having, I have my own blog and I have my journal and I share kind of vulnerable stories, but I don't see myself being like an editor, maybe at some
Yeah.
point down the line, but I don't feel the pressure right now.
Mm,
YouTube, never really thought about monetization, honestly. Even back when I
mm.
was doing like hair videos and thrift hauls and
Yeah, the typical stuff.
yes, I just wanted to share my college journey and having fun
Mm,
and all that. And even now with the podcast, I just want to have conversations. If it gets to the point where I have the opportunity to monetize or to have sponsorships or, oh, I'm about to prophesy in the mighty name of Jesus. But if I get to the point where like I can give back in a way,
yeah.
that would be so amazing, you know, if I can create an opportunity for other young people like ourselves. But
Yeah. Do
I,
you
you know,
think that changes it as well? Like once you do start monetizing, when you do certain hobbies and then it's also a job, do you think that changes it for
yes,
people? I mean, the way how what am I trying to say?
yes, I hear
Do you know what
you.
I mean?
Because now it's a business.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found it. I found it. Let me read
You
a quote
found
for you.
it. Yes.
I don't know how to read my handwriting. Okay. It's so funny that you just mentioned that. So one of the quotes goes, and when you listen, this is about listening to advice when people tell you that you should monetize your hobbies. Um, she says, and when you listen to their advice and turn fun into profit, suddenly you have a business. That's not a hobby. There's a demand that drives you to promote your product or idea instead of just doing it for fun. You
Yeah.
know, so then the moment you monetize it, you have to have a strategy. You have
Yeah.
to what do people want to see and what product or service are you sharing? But when you're doing it for fun, you're just figuring it out and going about the
That's
journey.
so, oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm sorry for interrupting because I feel like I keep interrupting
No, no,
you.
no, 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 no.
But it's so weird how you said that because I viewed YouTube in that way. Funny enough, I never thought about it as a job. Well, actually, no, I'd be lying if I said that because when I was younger, before it was like the new Gen Z thing, right? To
Right.
be a YouTuber, way, way back, 2013. I remember I was that odd kid that was like, I want to be a YouTuber. And everyone laughed at me and everyone thought that was ridiculous because back then it wasn't a thing, right? And
It wasn't.
that's how much I loved YouTube at the time. Like
Wow.
that's how far it goes for me. I think it was 2013. I was about 14 years old or something. And yeah, and I told people, and I put it on my locker. I drew it on my locker, like YouTuber as an aspiration, right? So I did see it as a job, but I didn't focus on the idea of money or how you can get sponsorships or be
Right.
I didn't know about that at the time. As I got older, I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't see that as a real career path. And funny enough, now it is. But I think maybe 2017, when I started looking at university options and degrees, I was like, nah, I'm just gonna leave that in the back burner. If I do decide to do it, it'll be as a hobby, it'll just be for fun. But in the back of my mind, and whenever you even type in how to grow your channel on YouTube, it's always from that monetization stance of like,
Yes.
how can you grow it so you can monetize, so you can hit that 1K and start making money from ad revenue, from sponsorships, from collabs or whatever it may be. And then how do you target your audience? You need to target your audience, you
And
need
now
to
it's
make
even
your
harder.
audience. Yeah, it's even harder anyway. But the way they talk about it, it's just interesting how you spoke about it, a business versus a hobby, because every video I watch, even if it's not about how to make YouTube, even if the video is titled just how do you grow your channel, right? Just as a hobby, there's no such video because all of them are from the stance of how do you grow it so you can make it your business, or
Yes.
so it can become your job, or so you can profit. And it's so weird because why don't people talk about the hobby side of it anymore? Like how do you make YouTube your hobby these days? And just for fun, like grow for fun, just for the sake of it, because you want to meet new people, because you want to inspire, because you want to have your own community. How do you do it that way without the pressure of numbers, subscribers, telling people to like your video, telling people to share your video, telling people to comment a certain thing so that, marketers can see that,
Right.
you have an engagement from a certain demographic or whatever it may be. How do we remove all these business side of things and just make it a hobby? Because I often found myself, although I wasn't thinking I want this as my job, all the things I was doing was as if that's what I wanted, if that makes sense, just because that's the way it's all
Right.
catered to you. So yeah, it's so weird. Like it's weird that I'm glad you said that, because now I'm seeing there's a difference, and it does remove a lot of pressure, although the pressure will probably come back, but it does remove a lot of pressure when I remind myself this is a hobby. I don't need this to pay my bills. It's just for fun. And I constantly have to remind myself that, because everything else is telling you differently. Everyone
Right.
else is saying you must monetize. If you have a YouTube channel, most people automatically think you're a YouTuber, right? So if you say you're a
How much money do you
YouTuber,
make?
right? Oh, they might not ask you, but they may be like, how many subscribers do you have? Just to kind of
Yes.
get an idea, because if you have, I don't know, 20K, they're thinking, oh, you're making money, or I don't know, 100K, you're making money, right? That's not always the case. I mean, I don't know anyone who's done YouTube and actually said no to, I'm not saying that you would have to say no for it to be a hobby, right? But anyone who's decided, actually, no, I'm not going to monetize. I'm growing steadily, but I don't want to monetize. I haven't really seen that. I
Right.
understand why you would. Anyone would, right? I understand. But I just haven't seen it, the flip side of, it just being for fun. The same way
Yeah.
social media has changed and you can now monetize off of Instagram pictures and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So
now everything is about monetization.
yeah.
In everything
Apart
that
from
you do.
Visco, I think that's why we enjoy Visco so much, because you
Yes.
can't monetize off of Visco.
Yes. And you're not
Yeah.
aware of who's following you, how many likes you're getting. That's not,
Yeah.
it's the art is a priority, and I love it
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, for those of you who are listening to our episode, I just referred to, and I'm going to read another one, please. That's the one I was actually
Yes.
talking about. I'm referring to a quote from That Sounds Fun by Annie F. Downs. She recently released this book, and it's about enjoying and embracing being an amateur, and the importance of hobbies and not feeling the pressure to monetize everything. It's so good. It's really good. I really enjoy it. So that's where I read the quote from. I have another quote. This is the one that I wanted to refer to. It's really good. So she says, some things are just meant to be fun. Sometimes, sorry, I can't read my whole handwriting. Okay. I read in
Okay.
cursive. I have like the doctor handwriting.
Oh, no wonder.
Okay, I'm gonna
It's
start
okay.
over. Some things are just meant to be fun. Some things are meant to stay amateur level for us. Some things are meant to teach us and grow us and bring us joy, not income. But there are other things when being sorry. But there are other times when being an amateur is the first step into walking into the thing that brings us joy and income. It brings God honor. It changes lives, and it feels like we're suddenly doing 100% what we're supposed to do. Sorry, I like stumbled through that.
It's fine. Please send that to me as well.
Yes, I will. But essentially, yes, some things are supposed to stay fun, but you know that you're maybe supposed to monetize it or turn it into a business when it brings you joy and it brings you income, right? It's bringing God honor and you're walking in purpose.
Yeah.
And it's changing lives. You're actually changing lives of people, and you're not just growing to grow and making money just for making money. And it feels like you're suddenly doing 100% what you're supposed to be doing. And
Yeah.
I would say that that's me with photography. And I'm like, click, you know?
It's come together, hasn't it?
Yes.
Because
So
I
that's it
can
for me.
see that in
Mhm.
you. Yeah.
But
Sorry,
I
go
don't feel
on.
that about writing. I don't feel like that about painting
Oh,
and
yeah.
other things that I do. So yeah, that's
Oh,
what I
that
was
is
thinking.
amazing. No, it's amazing. Like, you're right. It definitely, I feel like it's amazing that you found that one hobby that actually it's all come together and you can make money off of it, but also it's intentional and God, like it brings honor to God at the same time. And you can see how God's kind of led you down that road, that
Mhm.
path. So it's not just, you're not forcing it basically. Um,
Yes.
and
And I'm
yeah,
not
I think
rushing. I'm not
you're not
rushing.
rushing. Yeah,
I'm running in my own race. I'm figuring things out as I go.
there's no pressure. And I was
Yeah.
just thinking, like, as creative people, because we don't fit into, it's very hard, I think, for us to fit into one role as in a job, like to fit into one job, I should say. I feel like with creative people, we have so many things we like to do, right? And it's like you said, you found that one thing, but I think, at least for me, I'm on that journey of just figuring out, okay, what is that one thing? If it is one thing, and it could be multiple things, I don't even know. Have you heard the famous multiple streams of income thing?
Yes.
So it is very possible that you've got multiple things going on. But
Right.
even that, I feel like it comes to a point where you're like, this is overwhelming. This is too much. I need to cut this down. This is, I'm making money off of so many different things. Yes, it's nice to have a backup, but do I necessarily need all of these revenues? I don't
You don't
know.
need all seven of them right
Do you
now.
seven?
Right.
Exactly. Do you need all seven? Probably not. So I think it is important to figure out what it is career-wise you should do as a creative person, and then what it is you keep as a hobby and you don't
Yes.
monetize off of,
Definitely.
and you keep that separate. Yeah.
Mhm.
There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it
And I definitely want to have different streams of income.
Mm, at some point, yeah.
I don't know if we haven't recorded it, but just in our
Maybe
conversation
we did.
before we started recording, we're talking about working, having a 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love, I would love to have a 9 to 5. If I
Yes.
was like I don't know, because sometimes magazines and Visco and ID, sometimes
Yeah.
they have limited time. I don't know if it's contracts, sometimes it's part-time, sometimes it's full-time, but in a
Mm.
creative, you're generating ideas and you're creating content, or you're making art, you're interviewing folks. And I would love to do that as in my 9 to 5,
I can see you doing that.
and so there's different streams of income, and I'm not doing, okay, I need to monetize my YouTube, I need to monetize my podcast. I don't need all 7, but if I have at least 2 going, right? I have my day job and I also have my side hustle. For now, it's manageable.
It's good. Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. No, I remember now what it was I was gonna say. I always think about like how creative God is through my creativity, like through my art or whatever I'm creating. I
Mm.
always somehow reflect back to that, because isn't it amazing? I don't know why I wanted to bring this up. It was on my mind, but isn't it amazing that how creative God was to create this world, and then gave us a part of that, whatever he used to create that, well, not whatever he used, that part of him, that creative part of him, he gave it to us. He implanted it to
Yes.
us, passed it on to us, so that we could also be creative like him. I just think it is amazing.
Beautiful.
And that's why my biggest inspiration is the creation, or the world, or just things in the world that are, I would say nature probably, because I can see God's creativity through that, and I just feel connected to God in that way a lot of the time. And I don't know if that's just me, but I do want you guys to think, like, as creatives, where does your creativity come from, and can you see that in the world? Can you see that in nature? And because we have a creator who has given us this, so I
And
don't
who
know.
continues to give us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Literally, I say that all the time. My ideas don't come from me. They don't
yeah,
come from me, right? I just, the creative inspirations through my dreams, through my time and devotion. I'm like, God, did you just, okay,
yeah.
I need pen and paper. It just comes
Literally,
to me. It just comes to me. And I'm so grateful in the fact that I'm literally starting to walk in my creativity, and it feels good, and I'm kind of working in my zone of genius, and I'm having fun. That's all that
yeah.
matters.
And sorry, I just keep thinking of different things, but do you believe in people that say they're not creative? Do you think that is it possible not to be creative? I say that like so, I feel like I
Yeah.
sound judgmental there, but like,
Yeah.
because
Wait,
I
so you
have,
say you're not creative, or?
no, I'm not
Oh.
saying I'm not creative.
Mhm.
I have friends who would
Okay.
say they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
creative,
Yeah.
right? But I think that they're limiting the definition of creativity.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
feel I believe everyone is creative in their own way.
Mhm.
But do you believe that it's possible not to be creative?
I don't believe in that at all. I think
Yeah,
we are all creative. We have our gifts, right? We have our
exactly.
talents that God has given us. And I feel like, especially with social media and interconnectedness and technology, you feel like your gift has to involve technology in a way,
Oh yeah, that's true.
photography,
Mm,
videography, YouTube, something has to be in that sense. But there are
mm,
people who are creative in different ways. I mean, it still involves technology, but imagine people who are good with money,
yeah,
right? Who can be
yeah,
great financial advisors, or people who
mm,
can flip houses, who are real estate investors. They're creative in their own way. They don't
yeah,
have a camera, or they're not in front, and they're not living public lives, but they're
mm,
creative in their own sense. And so the
yeah.
different gifts that we have, I'm not giving advice. First of all, this is not advice. I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
yeah,
just disclaimer. But like my pastor all the time, like my spiritual parents, they always talk about um like knowing the gifts and the talents that God has given you, and going
mm,
back to the word to be reaffirmed about what you're supposed to do, whatever you gravitate towards, that's what it is for you. And
yeah,
figure out how you can walk in that purpose, and keep growing and keep learning. So I think we're all creative in our own way. We're
definitely,
all
yeah,
definitely all creative in our own way. So just figuring it out and
yeah.
taking it easy. Taking it
Because I
easy.
do know a lot of people who feel like because they're not artistic, or they don't do anything
Yes.
digital, or it may not even be digital, but they don't necessarily paint or read or draw, they feel like, oh, you know what, I'm not creative. I wish, or I often know people that say, I wish I was creative like you. And it's like, I know you have a gift, which something, or maybe it's a better way to describe it is a gift, because I think those sorts of gifts may be praised more sometimes than the average, I don't know, good with numbers, or
Yes.
I'm trying to think of something different, like that's not
Because it's
typically creative.
outward. You're sharing it
Yeah.
online and you're being
Yeah.
affirmed. And yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, because it's outward, and and that is the most common thing you would see in social media, I guess, like the creative side of things. But I do want to encourage people, like, if you're not necessarily like into art or into photography or anything digital, doesn't mean you're not creative. You have your own skills, you have your own gifts, and you're still able to use those to do things that us creative people, or have us that have these gifts, can't do what you're good at. So yeah, everyone is different, and
Yes.
don't feel discouraged, because you can use that in amazing ways. So yeah, just thought that was interesting. But yeah. Nice.
We've had a wonderful conversation.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Lynn. Do you have any other questions, or?
Okay, so we're wrapping up, but I wanted to do a lightning round.
Okay, yes, go for it.
A few questions. Okay. I was gonna say name one thing that you're doing for fun, but we already talked about it. But that one, what is your favorite thing right now that is strictly a hobby? The number one thing.
Favorite.
You have to pick.
Walking.
Yes. I live in the suburbs. I hear you, because I live in the suburbs, so it's not really as.
No, but the thing is, if I could, I would walk through the countryside. Like, I love nature so much. I think I find it hard to appreciate the city. There's so much to appreciate, but I find it very hard to like appreciate being in the city. I know there's so much to be grateful for. There's something new around every corner, something cool. But I actually prefer, if I could, to be in the suburbs, to be in the countryside, to be in the fields, in the hills, the valleys. Yeah. So
like slower living.
Yeah, slower living. This is way too overrated for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Name one song that you currently have on repeat.
Everything by Evan and Eris. I don't know if you know Evan and Eris. They're a Christian duo. I think they're siblings, actually. And yeah, they sing like R&B Christian songs. So yeah, that's all on repeat for me.
Share one useful resource that you're loving right now. It could be a book, a podcast, and a productivity app, anything.
Okay, I even said I'll send you this podcast. Let me just check what it's called so that I say the right name. To My Sister's podcast. I recently found them, and the first two, they're not the first two podcasts that are there, but two of the podcasts that I've listened to have been amazing, and they've touched on they've touched on side hustles, on 9-to-5s, generating income, monetizing on your passion. What am I saying? I hope I'm making sense here. Entrepreneurship, all that sort of stuff. So I find it really interesting, and they're a bit older than me. Actually, I don't really know how old they are, to be honest. They could be in their 30s, but they're very mature, and they have a lot of life experience, and they really have bubbly personalities and really nice to listen to. So yeah, I highly recommend if you're into that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's one resource I could recommend.
Thank you. Okay, one more. Okay, so I saw this at Adobe Max. They were interviewing a celebrity, and then they did like a one-word call and response. So I say a word, and then you respond with the first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Creativity.
God.
Ooh. Okay. Self-care.
Flowers.
Yes.
Actually thought of bath, like a bathtub. But then I said flowers, but that was not my true answer.
But it's the first thing that came to mind.
The first thing that came to mind was bath, like a bathtub.
Okay.
But then I said flowers. But anyway.
Hobby.
Painting.
Okay, I'll do one more. Writing.
Journaling.
Okay. Japan.
Sushi. So it's difficult. I could have bought something really creative there, but no,
Yes.
sushi.
Well, thank you
Thank
so much for sitting with me today, Malika. This was so great.
you. Thank
This
you,
was just
Lynn.
supposed to be like a debrief about the actual interview, and then we just started talking. So I really, really appreciate it. You are the first and only person I've ever interviewed.
Really?
By the way, yes.
I thought you said you had someone else in what?
Remember back in June, it was supposed to be a whole thing, and then everything got so crazy. I just never went back.
Wait, did you not say something like I did a podcast already with someone?
I'm sorry.
Did you? Okay, sorry. The British in me. Did you say already? Wait, that's not probably English. Rewind. Did you what am I trying to ask? I swear you mentioned that you filmed a podcast with someone else already or recorded.
Oh, I have someone else lined up,
Oh, you haven't
and
done them yet.
but I haven't done it yet. No. Yeah.
Okay. It's the first one. Okay, that's
You're
fine.
the
Yeah.
first person that I did the IG live with, and now you're the first interview for
Oh,
my
thank
podcast.
you.
Because you're
Oh,
the first person that popped around. I'm like, we need a part two of our
really?
conversation.
Thank you so much,
Yes,
Lynn.
of
I really
course.
appreciate it. And you're doing some amazing work. Keep going. Don't give up.
Thank
Even if,
you.
you don't get the words of affirmation. Girl,
Yes.
I'm gonna be on your timeline, like commenting,
Same.
liking, supporting.
And even when you've been posting the mundane, I'm like, oh, I
Mm.
love that. I love the concept.
Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes like I have no idea. This is what I took pictures of today. Here it goes.
Right.
So try not to overthink things as well, because sometimes
Yes.
I'm like, I want to be intentional. I need to be intentional. Everything needs to be intentional and purposeful and
Right.
meaningful. Okay, not everything I'm gonna do is gonna be so purposeful. Like I just my brain would be working on overtime if I could possibly do that. So yeah, I think just giving myself the freedom to just have fun as well with it and not making everything be deep. I like to be
Right.
deep, but then I also need to realize not everyone wants to be deep all the time 24/7, so it's okay to just post what you like the way that it
Yes.
looks, or
Yes.
yeah,
Just
if you get
enjoy the
what I mean.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh, thank you so
Well,
much
thank
again.
you. Thank you so much for sitting with me. This was so fun. This was
It
great.
was. I really enjoyed it, and I felt a bit nervous at first, but now I'm like at ease, so I could
Yes.
keep going if part two, part three.
Yes. Part two will definitely happen at some point. I would love to maybe like do an episode about like what we're reading or what we're
Yeah,
consuming, how we're finding inspiration, but that is definitely to come. I'm very
good
excited about
one.
that.
Oh, that's a good one. You have
Yeah.
some great ideas, honestly. I
Yes.
love
Okay.
it. Yeah, I
Okay.
love
We'll do it. We'll do it
creativity.
soon.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll write down I'll start preparing for that now.
Yes.
Endless list,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah,
Well, it
that
was
sounds good.
so great to chat with you. I'm so
You
grateful.
too.
Always a good time to check in.
Thank you for waking up so early to do this.
I woke up, I was driving like but
You did
yes.
well, honestly. I was just
Thank
like, oh,
you.
I've got time. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Until next time.
Yes. I hope you have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.
I hope you have an amazing day too. Oh yeah, you've
Yes.
got the whole day ahead of you. I'm
Yes.
basically ending the day.
All right.
I'll
Thank you
speak
so
to you
much for sitting with
soon.
me.
No problem.
And please, tell the folks where they can find you, to follow
Oh
you, to keep
yeah.
up with you.
Okay, so I'm not even used to doing this.
I
You're just like,
know.
I'm
It's
ready,
like,
girl. Go for it.
yeah.
I'm like,
I'm like, go
what do I even
ahead.
say?
The floor is yours.
Sorry, my earphones fell out.
Uh-huh.
You can find me on YouTube at Blessed with Color, on Instagram at Blessed with Color, Depop, I don't know.
Yeah.
um, Mali_A, and I have a few bits there.
Visco.
TikTok. Oh, Visco, yeah. Photo by Malaika. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, TikTok is, I need to check. I think it's Malaika.aa. Maybe I'll send it to you to put in the
Yes, I
description,
will have
because
all of it in the description.
I only
In the
recently
info
made
box.
it, so I can't actually remember what it's called.
Yeah,
So,
no
but
problem.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for that
Of course. Well,
little
thank you
shout out.
everyone for tuning in. I hope
Yes,
you guys
thanks,
enjoyed the
guys.
episode. Please let us know what you think in the
Yeah,
comments.
the
And show
words of
Malika some
affirmation,
love.
people. We need
Yes,
your comments. Okay, we need it.
Yes. All
But yeah.
right.
All right then. Yeah, I'll see you soon,
Yes, of
hopefully. I'll speak to you soon.
course.
Bye.